welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. It's Friday. Yay! Of course, every day is Friday when you're retired like I am. Right. Not that I can really afford to be retired, but I am. So it is Friday. Another week, another game. And I don't know. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see. So we are playing the Las Vegas Raiders and the Chicago Bears. The Las Vegas Raiders live right down the street from me. Their stadium's that way, and their practice field is 10 minutes the other way. So I'm right in between Raider country. But first, before we get into the game, I have to give a shout out to a family member. My wonderful sweet niece Jackie and her husband Andrew welcomed their second baby, and it was a boy. He came 3 weeks early, the little stinker, but the mother did not mind. He was born on the 16th. And so let's give them a hooray. Welcome to the family, little man. Now, we have 7 grandbabies amongst my brother and my sister and me, and number 8 will be, no, it's 6. I'm sorry. God, Lynn. 6 grandbabies as of this week, and in February, number 7 will come, which will be my second grandson. So congratulations, Jackie and Andrew. Right on. Okay, so the Raiders are 3-3, and the Bears are 1-5, as we know, which sucks. They should be at least 2-5, or 2-4, if you ask me. But we're not going to go down that road, are we? So the series between the Raiders and the Bears are 8-8. The first time these teams first met was back in 1972, and the first time they met, we lost against them. But the last time these teams faced off was in 2021, and I was at that game. It was right down the street. I even have a towel from it, and we got to go to that game, me and my son, and the Bears beat them, so it was great. So they're 8-8, these teams. So there's something I did want to mention from Monday's show. It's kind of funny. I mean, this stuff happens to me all the time. So on Monday's show, if you watched it, I was mentioning that the Bears have been talking about in their mini buy about hiring a D coordinator or a D analyst to help Flus with the defensive duties, because he's head coach and he's not great at that, and now he's our defensive coordinator. Although last week the Bears played a better game defensively, we'll talk about that. But so I was talking about that. I'm like, so whatever happened to that rumors? Usually we don't hear anything. As soon as I got off the show on Monday, I'm, putzing around, loading up my show, and then I read, the Bears hired a guy that day. Day late, a dollar short. That's my problem. So they hired Phil Snow, and Phil is going to help the Flus out. He's going to be scouting the teams the Bears play each week, and so on Monday and Tuesday, they will go over his notes of scouting the next team they're playing, and that'll help the Bears come up with a defensive plan. So so welcome, Phil. I'm really hoping that you help Flus out so we can keep this defense going in the right direction, because I thought they'd take a big leap last week. So what I always do, let's go over some of the stats. I'm not going, we'll get to that next, but the team stats, I always do this. So, Bears and the Raiders. So, passing, and this is the average, they're averaging the Bears 188 yards per game. That puts them 26th in the league. The Raiders are averaging 218 yards, passing yards, and that puts them 14th. They're better than us in that. Not a surprise. Rushing, though, we do beat them handily. We're averaging 136 yards a game. That puts us 7th in the league. They're averaging 73 yards a game rushing, and that puts them 31st in the league. So that helps our defense a lot. a lot. So maybe the Bears, because they held Minnesota to 46 yards rushing last week. So the defensive line can continue to do this. They're heading in the right direction, and that is a good thing because prior to that game, teams were running all over the Bears' defensive line. The Bears have scored an average of 21 points a game. That puts them 19th in the league. The Raiders are averaging 16 points. That puts them 27th in the league. Points allowed. We know the defense has been giving up a lot of points. Although last week, even though the game was 19-13, the Bears defense only gave up 12 points because those last 7 points were on that fumble that Bagent did, and the defense ran it back for a touchdown. So they only gave up 12 points last week. So the Raiders are averaging 21 points a game, and that puts them 19th in the league. So they beat us on that. Usually I do the stats of the quarterbacks to compare everything, but really no point in doing that because Bagent doesn't really have much because he's our rookie, number 17, came in last week, second half of the game to take over for Justin, who got hurt. So he doesn't have really anything. And Jimmy G for the Raiders isn't playing this week. He's out again. He hurt his back last week. So Hoyer is going to be their quarterback on Sunday. So we have two backup quarterbacks, and there's just no point into trying to play that little game of, whose stats are better, right? So the offensive lines, let's talk about that just briefly, though, before I get into the defense. So our offensive line has given 25 sacks. Chicago Bears quarterbacks have been sacked 25 times. 24 for Justin and 1 for Bagent. Now, last week they did again have a better game, but the line has got to get better, particularly this week for Bagent, because you've got a rookie in there, a raw rookie in there, and he has got to have a little time to be able to scan that field a second or two. Just give it to him, please. So you played terrible last week. So you got to play better, offensive line. You were so bad last week. And although Fields didn't look good, but probably it was half and half. Him not releasing the ball in enough time, and the offensive line not holding up for him. Come on now. A couple weeks ago they looked good, and then last week the offensive line looked terrible. Unlike the defensive line that looked good last week, which we're going to get into. But the offensive line has given up 25 sacks, and some of those are definitely on Fields. There was no doubt about it because in the beginning of the season, Fields was definitely holding on to the ball too long and not making fast decisions. So, which he kind of did last week before he got hurt. So, that offensive line is so important this week, and I do believe Wright, our rookie, he's out. I don't think he's going to be playing this week because he did not practice. He hurt his shoulder. So, again, hurt. So, now we've already got Braxton Jones on IR. So, we're just hurting on the offensive line. We cannot get a break when it comes to the offensive line. I swear to God, if we could just get all our starters in there for one frickin' game to play the whole game, it would be a miracle. But it's so important, offensive line. You know what? When you have a quarterback that has any kind of talent, or any quarterback, you have got to have a good line. You watch teams that have good lines. That's why their quarterbacks play as well as they do, because this line gives them the 3 seconds they need, 4 seconds maybe they need to if they don't get their first read, maybe they can get that next read, and if they're lucky, they can get the third read and get that ball out. So offensive line's huge importance, and the Bears have been struggling for years, let's say, and that's true, but it's time to get it together now. It really is. Man up, you guys. Man up. Tits up, chins up, and get out there and play a good frickin' game. Our defense, so we're going to compare the defenses for just a few stats. Our defense have 9 sacks, which a few weeks ago they were still at 2. So they have improved a little bit, and I'd like to see that happen this week with the Raiders. Let's get some more sacks, okay? So important to getting sacks. You know that. It pushes them back. It hurts their momentum. It gets into the head of the quarterback. Remember, we got a backup in there, although Hoyer has been around a long time, and we know Hoyer. He was on our team for a little bit. And so we want to get in his face, make him make a mistake. Come on, defense. Come on, line, play like you did last week. You know what? And that's the thing. They were played, but you've seen a little improvement each week. Last week, I thought they took big steps, and they did play Minnesota and Kirk Cousins. So we don't have to say, well, it was Washington or well, it was Denver. It was a good team. Again, Minnesota is better than their record. Truly, they're just having a problem with penalties and turnovers. That's what's been hurting them. So, okay, so the Bears defense has 9 sacks. The Raiders defense has 13 sacks. So look out, line. They can sack. The Bears defense has 3 interceptions. The Raiders have 5 interceptions. So Bagent, no more dumb throws, okay? The Bears have 2 fumble recoveries on defense, and the Raiders have none. So it's not overly, the Raiders aren't going to overly take it over us on stats, but the defense, we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute, but they do have to step up. So the Raiders have a very good, we all know who Dante Adams is. He's their wide receiver, but he hasn't really had an Adams type of a year yet. And I've been reading, because I'm out here in Vegas, he's very unhappy. And he's like, the last quote is, I'm not here just to hang out. So, basically he's saying, throw me the damn ball. And we don't want that to happen this week. So our backfield had a great game last week. I mean, Brisker was all over the damn field last week. Man, I know we lost that game, but so I don't know I don't think they give out game balls, but they should have. If they did, it would have gone to Brisker. And Stevenson, 29, our rookie back there, actually had a pretty good game. He's so young. He's going to have penalties now and then, but he really played his ass off last week. So the backfield is really, when they're healthy, we've got a really good backfield. So we got to shut down Adams and force them. And what they've been doing, I've been reading about the Raiders, their running back, Josh Jacobs, he's been really involved in the passing game. He has 209 yards passing. So Adams was the number 1 wide receiver for them. And then their second, he's not the wide receiver. Jacobs is right behind Adams. So he's a dual threat. He's a passing threat, and he is a threat at running back. But their running game hasn't been that great this year. So defensive line, don't let them wake up on Sunday. Shut them down like you shut down Minnesota last week, and we have a damn chance. The thing about, the Raiders is, compared to the Bears, is we're pretty blessed this year, considering the injuries. We've Herbert, our number 1 running back, is out. He's out. Our number 2 running back, number 23, Johnson, that wonderful rookie. I love this kid. He's out again, week 2 with a concussion, so he won't be in. So I think the number 3 guy is back. I forget his name. What is his name? Oh, it doesn't matter. But who I like and who played last week is number 21, Foreman. He had a great game. He had close to 70 yards. Have Getsy don't get it. Fed him the ball more last Sunday, as he should have, because this guy was getting chunks of yards. And Foreman is the type of running back who is big, and he runs over people, and he's going to wear down that defense. So you got to keep feeding them the ball. The problem, like last night I was watching the Raiders game. Raiders and, oh my God, who did they play? I just watched it. Pickled! New Orleans. No. Raiders. We're playing the Raiders. Like New Orleans played. Oh God. Anyways, New Orleans. I was watching that game last night, and they couldn't get the running game going, so they abandoned it, and it forced Derek Carr to have to throw. Oh, they played the Jaguars, and it forced him to have to throw and become a one-dimensional team. And that is besides the fact that Carr and his wide receivers were not at all on the same page yesterday, and Carr was pissed. But once you become a one-dimensional team, then the defense is like, oh, this is easy. So then for the second and third and part of the fourth quarter, they were all one-dimensional, and then the Saints went back to running, and they started getting chunks of yards again. Don't abandon the run, and that's the problem with Getsy. Make it balanced. Same. You want to have around the same amount of touches on runs as same amount of touches on passes, and you're going to have a good complete game. So let's run 21. Shove him down their throat on Sunday, Getsy. Don't get it. For cripe's sake, I think that Foreman can do it. He has shown us when he's in there he can. So feed him the damn ball, Getsy. Because that's only going to help Bagent. If you could get that running game going, it's going to help Bagent. Let's talk about our D a little bit again. So as I said before, I felt that the D had made some strides last week in that game against Minnesota. And I mentioned the D-line had a solid game. They really did. They were in Kirk Cousins' face a lot. They only got 2 sacks, but they were in his face a lot, and actually they forced a interception. And that's what I want to see again. You get in their face. You don't give them time to scan the field. They're going to make a mistake, or they're going to throw the ball away, and then it's the next down. Bears D-line has got to play even better than they did last week, and they had a solid game. And our backfield had a great game, as I mentioned too. I yelled out Brisker and Stevenson. I called them out, and they did have a great game. So our defense has got to continue the momentum from last Sunday to this Sunday. And maybe, it is game 7 now, and, there's a lot there. They were only one guy returned on that defensive line from last year. So we signed players in the offseason, and we drafted the rest. So I'm hoping, yes, we didn't see what we wanted in the beginning of the season, but maybe we're going to see it now. Now that they've been playing more, they're healthy, they're getting there. Maybe we can see each week a little bit better, and it's got to start this week, because it started last week and it's got to progress. You have got to move forward. That defense does their job. They'll keep the Raiders' offense off the field. Don't let them score a lot, and we have a chance to win this game. Everybody on this team has got to do their job. No mistakes. Smart football, and finish a game, and you got to rally around 17. You've got a raw rookie in there. And I'm going to talk about something he said in the press conference in a few minutes, but you've got to help this guy out. So everybody, defense, special teams, and the offensive players have to rally around 17. That's the thing for this week. So come on, defense. So there is something I want to mention, though, is last week about Bagent on Monday's show. You know that interception that he threw at the end of the game last week to Moore, who was trying to hit Moore close to the end zone? This is what he said in his press conference on Wednesday. So he said in the press conference, he was talking about it. He said, he goes, I saw Moore open. My eyes got big and excited. And for 1 second, I thought, this is going to be a big play. So he let it go, and it just kind of fluttered out of his hand because he was so excited. And he knew as soon as he let it go, it was a huge mistake. He goes, I should have known better. I'm thinking big play in my head for myself, and I should have thought, no, throw to your check down. The check down was open. You can't think big plays all the time. You've got to think what's best, the best play to do to live for another down. And he's like, and I can't think like that. I've got to see the whole picture. And he goes, and that was totally on me. That was a rookie mistake. And he goes, and I'm not going to do that again. I have to see the whole field. I've got to know the right play, and I got to do it for the team. Now, he may not be the answer to our dreams. I'm hoping he is, or at least to give us a win this week, right? But I liked his confidence in that press conference on Wednesday, and he was honest, and he was funny, and I don't know. I like it, but there's nothing wrong with confidence, right? This kid has got to be confident. He's going in, he's raw, and he's got an offensive coordinator that can't call a game for shit. I could call a better game, and I'm not really good at that. I mean, I know football, but, so Getsy has got to call a better game. That game he called last week was terrible. Again, he did not run the ball enough. He didn't mix it up. Justin was having problems out there. There was no doubt about it before he got hurt. He looked uncomfortable. He was hanging on to the ball again, making bad decisions. So a lot of people are like, what's going on? And I really believe between Getsy and Fields, they're not on the same page. We've talked about the Bears want Fields to be this, then be that. Yeah, but you know what? But Getsy is just not getting it. And him and Fields, I just have this gut feeling that they're button heads. And if you're having that problem, you've got a physically talented quarterback on the field. I just don't know if he's got it up here to be an NFL quarterback. But Getsy is not helping this kid out at all. He has got to be, that's for Fields we're talking about now. But we got to get back on Bagent because he's our starting quarterback. So I am hoping. The thing is, last week, too, we only had 2 plays that gained more than 20 yards last week. What the hell? And there were guys open that Fields missed, so I don't know what was going on there. So we got to go downfield. You cannot win a game if you have 2 plays more than 20 yards. Not going to happen, okay? Getsy, don't get it. So he's got to call smart plays, but this guy's got an arm. Let's just hope this game isn't too big for him. He seems confident, and I know the team has confidence in him. He's got confidence in himself, and that's great. We want that. But confidence doesn't do it all. Smart, see the field, release the ball. That's what he's got to do. And if it's not going to happen, throw the ball out of bounds and hang on to that ball, young man. Because this lady do not like turnovers from you quarterbacks, okay? I gave you a pass on that fumble last week that cost us 7 points, but I'm not doing it this week. You're out there, you're our starter, so all bets are off. Whatever happens is on you. I was reading some stuff on social media and this and that, and people were just being mean about him. Oh, he's not going to do this, he's not going to. And I wrote on this one thing, I said, can't we just be supportive for this kid? Right now, he needs confidence. He needs the fans to have his back and root for him. So there better not be any fucking booing at that game. Somebody wrote, and I respect my viewers for what they say. At first, he was like, nah, they should be able to boo. And everybody has a right because they paid that expensive ticket. I get it. And he goes, and then this guy wrote, but I'm booing for the coaches. Yeah, and I get that. I bitch about the coaches all the time. But when you're booing, the players are the ones on the field hearing it, and that's getting in their heads. So think about the players. We've got to back our team. I know we're 1-5, but we got to back. You got to stand on your feet. You got to root on that defense, make it loud so the Raiders' offense can hear, and that helps the Bears' defense. And be supportive. Be quiet when the offense is on the field so Bagent doesn't have to yell, blah, 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 blah. So let's be positives this week. Let's encourage this kid. Let's not look for the bad yet, okay? So Getsy don't get it, better fucking call a better game this week. Well, you know how I feel. I want Flus. I want all those coaches out at the end of the year. I don't care if we win every game from now until the end of the season, which I would love for that to happen, but we know it's not going to happen. I'd still want them fired. I don't like them, and I want Jim Harbaugh. I know it. I know most people disagree, but that's who I want, and that's who could turn the Bears around. Okay, so let's talk about, well, the injuries are just killing us this year. Killing us. So, as I said, our offensive line, Nate Davis is out again. He has a high ankle sprain. That sucks because those are the hardest to get through. And this guy is out again. Eddie Jackson is questionable. I really doubt he's going to be in, and that sucks because he wasn't in the game last week very long. As I said, our backup running back, number 23, Johnson is out with a concussion, and our other offensive lineman, Wright, is out with he's our Darnell Wright, our rookie lineman. He is out with a hurt shoulder now. And this is Friday morning. I haven't seen Friday's injuries yet because I'm doing my show really early today because my sister is in town. She was in town for work, and at noon today I'm going to pick her up, and then we're going to be bad the next 2 days in Vegas. Look out, Vegas, here we come. So my point is I don't know what the injuries are for Friday, but Wright was questionable. My guess is he probably won't be in. So let's do my threes. You know my threes, if you watch my show: time of possession, turnovers, and penalties. You win the time of possession. I can say this every week. You win the time of possession. It means your team offense is on the field, their offense is off the field. Your defense is off the field, their defense is on the field, and that's what you want. You win that time of possession, and you win the threes. You're in the game, and you have a chance to win it. And last week they won 2 out of the threes. Turnovers. You got to win the turnover battle. Last week, that was the one we lost. We did not win the turnover battle. The defense has got to continue. They're starting to make turnovers. Not enough in my liking, but you got to. And the Bears offense, hang on to the damn ball. That's your job. Hang on, guys. You all got these fucking huge hands, unlike these nubs. It's funny because my son, my fingers are so short, so whenever I give a finger, he calls it the smoky link. There is the smoky link. But hang on to the ball. And my third one, so you got to win time of possession, Bears defense. We got to win the turnover battle because it only helps boost your team when you get turnovers, and it helps your offense. And number 3, penalties. 5 or less. You've got to have 5 or less to win this game. And last week they did. I was watching that game last night, Jags and New Orleans. And New Orleans was going down the field. They were down by 7. And in the middle of the fourth quarter, they're going down. Boom. Penalty. Now it's 2nd and 20. Changes your play call. Then they don't complete the pass. 3rd down, 4th down. And they were just humming, and that penalty stopped it all. Penalties are a momentum killer. And the Bears, when they get those, especially the holding on offense, it just kills them. Because the Bears, I swear, they always get them. There's never a good time, but the Bears always get them at the worst time. So to win on Sunday, time of possession, turnovers, penalties. You win that, Bears, you got a chance in this game. So basically, the bottom line is, we know Bagent has got to play air-free, smart football. Don't be going for those big plays like it did last week unless you know you're going to make them. Use your check down. Use your brain. Be smart. Offense, let's finish. We got to have a strong running game. If you can get your running game and your passing game going at the same time, you're going to be golden. And he doesn't, and that's what I'm hoping Getsy. Start out with maybe 5-10 yard passes for this kid. And do not, Getsy, call plays 3 times in a row, the same play, which he fucking does all the time. And don't pass behind the line of scrimmage. Those plays don't work for the Bears. They don't work for most teams. Throw that fucking play out. Put it in the toilet and flush it. Oh, no, I know. This is what I think about the pass behind the line. Throw that up in the air. Yeah, Getsy. And again, I don't like guns. So got to have a good call game. We got to get the running game together. That offensive line, as banged up as it is, we're probably losing 2 guys, and we're already losing 3 when you think about Braxton Jones not being in there. So that means the defense is going to have a stellar game this week. Continue your momentum from last week. That line, get in his face. Get off the ball. I'd love sacks, but if you can force indecisions, incompletions by Hoyer, not allowing him, you need more 3 and outs, not allowing them to be on the field long. That's what has to happen. I think, yes, the offense is obviously very important because we need to score points, and that's huge. And that's the thing. The Bears got to come out and get down that field and score points early and often. And but I think this defense, to help the offense, has got to be the one that steps up this week. Because the offensive line is banged up as shit, so we can't count on them again. That means Bagent's going to be under fire. God, please let him be smart, confident, and just let that game slow down. Do not let it overwhelm you. Your father is an arm wrestling champion of the world. So you be the champion of football. You be the badass that your father is. And a lot of his family is going to be at this game, he said. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of people at this game for him. And I really, really, at the end of the day, wish and hope that Bagent has a great game, because obviously I want to win. But at the end of the day, we'd love to see this kid succeed, at least enough to give us a W. We're not expecting 300 yards, 400 yards out of him, but just a clean, air-free game. The Bears have got to have a clean, smart, air-free, finished game. Let's bring home a W, and let's give this kid some confidence. Hey, it would be fun to have a quarterback controversy in this city. When have we had one of those? Never. So, I'm telling you what, we all need what needs to happen. So, I just have a feeling where the Bears are going to win. Most of the games this season I have not, but I do think they're going to do it. And they're playing the Las Vegas Raiders right down the street from me. So I would just love the Bears to beat them. I would. That's it, guys. So I'm not gonna repeat myself 100 times, but we know what's got to happen, and we gotta be fans in that stand have got to be rooting on Bagent. And if the Bears win, it's a victory Monday. I'm gonna sing the touchdown song again, and you all love it. And I think I might tweak it because I can't stand the song. I would love them to come up with a new one. I know some people like it. So, anyways, that's the lowdown. You know what's gonna happen. Speaking of lowdown, my buddy and I, Dan, we haven't done our podcast the last 2 weeks. Dan has been traveling. I had a friend in town a couple weeks. I was with my friend a couple weeks ago. So Dan is in Illinois because he was at a game last Sunday, and he's going to be at the game this Sunday with our good friend from England, Chris Watts, who, Dan, remember, started the GoFundMe page and got him to Illinois to see 2 Bears games. So they're going to be there Sunday again. Although Dan has not been a good luck charm for us. So you'd better damn break that, man, and get it. But my point is that we will be back next Wednesday on the podcast, Bears Country Podcast, The Download with Dan and Lynn. So check that out, too, on Wednesday nights. But we have been absent for 2 weeks. I'll be back on Monday, of course, to hopefully be singing a victory song and talking a win. Because I'm just getting too tired of being cranky on Mondays, okay? So come on, Bears. Throw us fans a bone. We need something. Come on, Bears. I believe in you. Even with that fucking coaching staff, I believe in my players. And that's what the fans have got to do, okay? Enough. All right, so I think that's it. I'm going to, get ready to get this girl in. Bye. daddy mode with my sister, and we are just going to be bad girls this weekend. So, of course, I hope we're not going to be that bad that you read about us. Nah, I'm just kidding. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the support. Actually, I haven't been that bad today. I'm kind of impressed. Of course, I haven't really pronounced any names because I didn't even try. You know how bad I am at that. And but I do appreciate your support and the fact that you do. Especially my loyal listeners. I have some listeners that have been watching me since day one 4 years ago, because you know it is season 4. Have I told you that? Season 4. I know. This old lady. And but I appreciate you watching. I really do. So, and remember, the Bear. You gotta watch me win or lose. It's not my fault the Bears are losing, and you know I'm always gonna make you laugh. So you just gotta turn me on. Please, baby. Boom, boom. Okay. As always, I sign off the same week all the time. Love one another. Let's stick together. Times are very tough. What's going on out of the country? You know, the war brewing. We don't want to get involved with that. We just want to stay together. We got to bring this country back. We've got to rally around each other. We're the only ones. We're living here, man. We're the only ones that could do it. And love and friendship is what's going to do it. Hate and disrespect is not the answer. Just everybody, you know, I'm old enough to remember when everybody got along. Didn't matter what your political beliefs were. People just, you know, you would talk and whatever. But you know what? Everybody has an opinion and they have a right to it. But it shouldn't make any difference how you respect and love one another, right? So please, smiling to people and nice talk and help people out is the best way to go. And you feel good. It makes you feel good because there's a lot of negativity around us, so don't let it in. I love you guys. You are the best. Bears fans rock. Go Bears! And as always, keep on rocking and rolling. From Vegas, baby. See you Monday with a victory.